No, you don't want to record? There we go. We're actually recording. Cool. Here we go.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Hey, and we're back. Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah, another week.
Another week. Another $100 million.
Oh man, isn't that the way? Just another oligarch, just
another oligarch
in art, like I do. Can't imagine that. There's maybe half a dozen on my hand, and most of them are dead.
There you go. Here's the good thing, though. This show is done between Canada and the United States, showing that we still get along. So there you go.
We do get along. I don't know what the problem is. Well, I do know what the problem is, but
we discussed it on Drew last week. He didn't get enough maple syrup as a child, so that's why. That's the problem.
Didn't get a lot of something. I don't know what it was. I know if you would have been around my house, you would have got something.
There you go. Yeah, smack probably. So on the bum.
Smack up the side of the head.
There you go.
Maybe that's what happened, and that kind of rocked his brain a little bit. But anyway, I don't know.
There you go. Well, today we have an artist, and she was with us once before, but her internet didn't work, and now it works.
We had a little bit of, I guess, internet issues as that happens, and
she fed the gerbil, and it's running around the cage, spinning the wheel.
Yeah, well, she got it fixed up, and we can now have it's great because it coincides really nicely with her show that's coming up, her solo show. We're talking about Shelley Eros from Winnipeg, Manitoba, or just by Winnipeg, Manitoba, outside. Okay. Lives in the country. Okay. And we're going to talk about her inspirations towards making her monotypes, which are prints, and their original one-off prints that she makes. And we'll talk to her about how nature is kind of inspiring her as to what she's doing, and how it works in with her show. And the amazing pieces. There are some amazing pieces that she can squeeze out of those little, I guess, trees, branches, leaves, whatever she uses to make stuff with. Let's bring her in. I'll talk to her about her journey.
Shelley, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you.
Now we can see you, and you're not breaking. So it's very exciting for us.
What a nice sunny day you have there, it looks like.
I'm going to go and let you and Paul talk art. I'll come back at the end and ask my famous questions. And if you've never seen the show, too bad. And if you have, then you know what they are. So enjoy your interview, and we'll see you in about an hour.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Well, good day to you.
Good day, Paul. Good day. Thanks for having me.
It's good talking with you again. And we had a little, when we did produce a show, and it was okay, but we had some lulls and some breaks in what we were talking about. So I think this was a nice opportunity to kind of smooth out what we were talking about and talk about actually your new show that we're going to be presenting in Artists in Canada. Sorry.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to hit the go button on tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Well, it's exciting. It's exciting to have a show anywhere, I think. It's harder and harder for artists to have shows, publicly in a commercial situation. So that's where we come in, and we try to, for our members, we try to have availability for like a 2-week show. It's online, and it's on our homepage. So, but I think today we're going to really talk about your artwork that we're going to put in that show. And I can't show everything. We got to keep some of it back for the surprise. But we're gonna go through most of this, a lot of the images that people are gonna be able to see. And when I went through the repertoire, it's quite different than the initial showing, and they're fresh and new. And I think they've inspired a lot of people. But talking about monotypes, what's the difference between a monotype and a monoprint? Are they the same?
I think they're the same. I do think that they're. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just a word switch. So when one person hears a monotype and a monoprint, means a single proof print, right? Initially. So what is the process you use to transfer that imagery that you create, and you create that on a flat board or somewhere on a plate, and then you put paper on top of it, and then what is your process from there to press it down to do the
Well,
transferring?
because of the new works for this show, I was using plant material and twigs and things from outside, and for me to get those kind of impressions, I have to use a gel plate because you cannot get that kind of impression off of glass or anything. So
Right.
firstly, I'll make a yeah, because it's kind of like got a bit of a sponginess. It's got a flex to it, so you can get those fine details on a jelly plate where you just couldn't otherwise. So
Okay.
that's what I'm using, and I'll do a background first, and then lay down the botanicals using almost always transparent colors,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll take a negative print of it,
Okay.
and then I'll take off the plant material, and then I have to let that image dry. And I may put on another layer of something, and then that would have to dry.
Oh, really?
And because I've already, yeah, and because I want everything to come off in one pull, I will use a clear medium
Okay.
instead of a paint sometimes to uh, coat the whole plate, and then I'll place my paper on top of it and then wait, well, sometimes overnight till the paper really dries, and then I can pull the plate off of the paper,
Okay. I'm going to get Stephen to
which
start our
works.
first. I'm going to get him to start our first shot up here with our. There you go. And we'll just sit off. We'll sit off to the side, and we can just talk about it as the images come up. So yeah. Well, it's understanding that anybody can make these, and I think it comes down to a lot of. I found the ones that I've done, they're kind of energizing. They can motivate you to move to different things, and it's really hard to replicate multiples of the same image. That's what you
Never
find
been,
they're kind of
I've
one off.
never been, yeah, I've never been able to duplicate one of my works. I've tried, can't do it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe in the colors sometimes, but I think the color palette. Do you work mostly with a minimal color palette, like of color, not a rainbow of color? Or do you just have a certain amount of colors you work with to make your proofs, like 2 3 colors?
I, I like to, you know, use a lot of colors, but
Oh, you use a lot of colors.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying. No, I'm trying to, contain myself more often to use a
Yeah.
palette.
Yeah.
So yeah, limited palette,
Yeah. So
and then
do you
you, and
try?
then it's a good experience for me to mix more colors and get more colors out of that limited palette.
Okay. Yeah. I think, well, like, because the colors overprint each other, is that as well, right? When you put them on initially. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you hand rub the back of the paper to push it in and around all the substrate that's underneath? Is that how you do it? Is with a brayer, I'm sure, right? Or is that what you use? Like just the hand?
Well, sometimes the plant material's too sharp to
Hmm.
use a barren type of
The Baron.
tool. Um, but I find what works best, especially well for all the pulls, but especially for that negative pull, is wet strength tissue paper. It's so thin that I can easily uh, feel my way through uh, all of the foliage to get that good positive print when I pull it, Whereas
Right.
if I use regular thick paper, it's so thick, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to outline. And so
So,
tissue,
so
tissue
initially,
paper is great.
right. So initially, when you were pressing, say that leaf or branch or flower, you're pressing it into the ink, correct?
Yeah.
Is that how it
Yeah.
works, or do you actually ever ink the leaf itself as well, and it becomes?
Um,
Have you done that? Have you inked it on the surface of the, or do you usually just take the impression of the foliage that you put down?
I usually take the whole plate is inked or paint. Ink doesn't work so good on the jelly plate. It beads
Oh,
up.
okay. So
Paint,
usually,
and, and then I lay the foliage on top of the whole paint.
oh, okay.
And then with the tissue paper, that's when I lay it over top all of that, and I pull off that extra paint, which
Okay.
when I take off the botanicals, that's when I see the positive print left behind. And I
So
try to get that as clean as possible so that it doesn't muddy up the positive print.
right. So do you ever get a ghost print from? Have you ever tried working with ghost prints off of them, or do you just normally get one good proof and that's what you work with?
I love the ghost prints. They're some of my favorites. They're almost
Yeah.
always my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm pulling everything at once, it pulls everything right off the plate, does not leave anything behind. So
Hmm.
sometimes I don't get prints anymore.
Right. Yeah. Just I guess it depends on, I guess, the thickness of foliage that is on there, pulling the stuff and holding the ink. I guess you. I just found that
I'm not
sometimes you working with a ghost print, you can continue working the print with the ghost print as a base. Sometimes you can work that a little bit. So how do you deal with things that are sometimes maybe quarter-inch thick, laying on top of the plate? Like I can see that being, or do you ever crush them down, or do they to get the
a
feeling,
lot
or
of time. I have I have I have things pressed under books everywhere.
that's what a book is good for now these days. Yeah, the bigger the better.
The
Yeah, some of those big,
bigger the better. The atlas is
some of those big
great.
coffee table art books. Yeah, like. But it's
Perfect.
this piece is beautiful. It feels very landscapey to me. Like I feel like I'm standing on the edge of um, a pond or a slough, and then you've got these trees, and there's magic stuff just happens. I know when you pull these things, you go, oh, I see things. Do you see things in them all the time that you didn't expect when you look through these? When you look through your proofs?
Sometimes I do, yes. I really like it when other people look at it and they see something immediately
Yeah.
that maybe I haven't seen. So I really like that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the color plate on this one. Very. What size are these proofs normally that you make? How big are they?
Right now, the biggest I can go is 11 by 14.
Okay.
But when maybe you can see behind me, I send them off with 16 by 20 white mats and boards.
Yeah, they look
And
nice.
then
Yeah,
when they frame, they're 16 by 20.
framed. Yeah,
So
yeah,
framed, yeah.
yeah. They frame
So
nicely.
11 by 14 right now. I'd like to, I'd love to get a bigger plate, but it's almost impossible to get in Canada right now. And they're really expensive, like really expensive.
Like
So
I mean,
right
for a
now,
plate.
that's side.
Okay, I mean, like for a
They're
plate to work
really,
on top of, or paper.
yeah. No, the paper's okay. It's the
Yeah,
plate.
it's just the plate.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have used plastic before, and it's got a pebble surface on one side and smooth on the other side. And it comes in rolls, and it's about 16th of an inch thick, so you can roll it up. But you just cut it to whatever size you want, and we can talk about that a bit later. I don't. I should have brought some in here for the show. But yeah, and it's big. You can get, it's 4 foot wide if you want. It's big stuff. And it's just like I said, it's a plastic. But it on the pebble side, it will hold the ink. Like it doesn't, how sometimes like water and oil don't mix and it'll puddle up on you a little bit sometimes because there's a resist in the plastic itself. Now, do you use an oil for your proofs, an
I
oil
have,
base?
I have
Or do you,
used oil. They're
but do you,
lovely, but
do you use
these
watercolor
are all
acrylic?
acrylic paint,
Okay.
transparent and metallics and opaque acrylic paints. A lot of the time, just to give me some time to, get the composition I want. If I'm not using an open, golden open paint, I have to put some sort of medium in it to keep it, viable,
Right.
or it just won't work properly off of it'll dry. That's when
Right.
I
Yeah.
would get ghost. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Or if
kind of
I
like,
if I took my paper, uh,
yeah. No, but anyway, we'll talk about the plastic. But the plastic can give you a bigger surface area to work with. It causes other issues. I mean, trying to keep that bigger piece of paper in one place while you're rubbing it down, you've got to tack it into place so that when you're rubbing it, it's not moving around on you. But people should know that they can make these kind of proofs at their kitchen table. Really, if
yeah,
they, if they, and they're really fun. But design becomes a big thing with them. I mean, it's really that's the color palette, the design, and they're kind of crucial. So I think so. I guess the spontaneity of invigorating. Do you find that you kind of rush into the studio with an idea, or or does that happen like that? Do you have you go pick so you live in the country, so do you have a walk that you like to do and find foliage that you like? Is that what yeah, is that your the pattern that you go through?
yes. And then I
Yeah.
usually have an idea. And then once I have the plants, I'll just sort of figure out how I'm going to lay them down as I'm
Right.
doing it. But colors and things like that I have to think about beforehand.
Yeah, I think they kind of come together sometimes, don't they? When you're finding the idea when the idea comes to you. I guess it's not much different than painting, but once you make a print, it's done. You can't paint over top of it or it, for the essence of an actual proof, it's a one-off thing. Am I correct?
But you can continue on if you want and
I know, but I guess
turn
you
it
initially,
into
yeah. So what is
a
this one that
collage.
we're, yeah. Well, it is kind of a collage. It is for sure a collage. I can see the multiple colors in this one here, and down to this dragonfly. How, how did that happen? The dragon, was that painted in or was he squished?
No, that was painted in.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was painted in.
yeah,
And
it's
the outline, like I usually clean my plate so that I know I'm always getting true colors and not, get any muddy colors. But
right.
sometimes I leave layers and layers on my plate,
Hmm.
and when they pull up, it's a fantastic thing. Sometimes they don't pull off, and you've got to baby oil it off. But sometimes, like you'll see around the edge there, there's many layers to that,
Yeah, no,
and it
it's a
always
beautiful
adds a lot
piece.
of interest.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
no, you can just see these dried flowers and dried vegetation, and it's sort of like you've given them another life. It's one more. You know, is it best to have material that say is in the fall or the spring? Like, do you get a feeling? Is there more? I guess that texture you're looking for better picked in a dried material, Then
I can't
so,
wait till the real green stuff comes.
yeah.
It'll be great.
Oh,
Yeah. Mhm.
it's a little bit more. Will be a little bit more pliable, I guess, right? And it's a feeling. So that'll
Mhm.
change quite a bit. Like the new life
Yeah.
feels like new life on the plate as well when you have it. I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, they are like painting sticks. But I love
Yeah.
the drawing line work. It looks like a beautiful drawing. It really, that the sensitivity is there. You have those four, I'll call them pods, flower pods, or grasses that are on there that are coming up. They all each are different, but there's a nice delicate line to each of them, which means the ink is caught on each side of that stem that depicts it. So it's and you push that ink in around it with the Baron. It's kind of nice to see. It's just how it is done. It's and like you said, it's kind of magic when you pull it off because you can't see it when you're rubbing it. This am I correct that way, right? So
It's true. Mhm.
you can sort of feel where you are. Yeah. So
Right. Yes.
so do
Try
you
to
pull the
get
paper
through
up?
all.
Yeah. Do you pull the paper back and forth a little bit to see where you're at and then put it back down if it needs more
Well,
rubbing? Is that what
when I'm doing the negative pull,
yeah.
because I'm using tissue paper, wet strength tissue paper or any tissue paper, um, it's so thin that you can actually see through it. So, like I know for sure if I'm getting,
Oh,
the
okay.
proper lines, it really works really, really good. And as
Yeah.
far as the positive print, no, like I don't pull it right away. I wait hours, minimum hours to pull it off so that the paper's completely dry. Then that way I get everything off of the plate. If I
Right.
pulled the paper off earlier, I would, well, for sure I'd get more of a ghost print, but uh, I might also get tears in my paper. So
Mhm.
I wait, bone dry.
It's a patience thing, obviously. Then, and I don't know. I guess I'm kind of, excuse me. I think a lot of painters and people are looking for inspiration and ideas, and I think doing monotypes is a great inspiration towards other types of work. If you're having kind of a blockage in your mind and I can't do things, these kind of open you right up, like making these little proofs. They don't have to be big. I mean, they're beautiful little plates in themselves, and they can motivate towards an idea. And you can put anything down on there. Like it doesn't have to be a plant. Um,
Oh
a
no,
lot.
it can be, you can make your own stencils or use somebody else's stencils or stamps, or there's just so many things. It's
Yeah.
unlimited.
And I like the fact that these ones are real scale issues. So you got some plants that are quite large on this one. Yet in the background there are some smaller foliages it gives a depth to it, like in the piece of work, all in one pull. Like you said though, with the patience to wait. It's not like doing it's like doing a watercolor, just waiting for the right time to add the next pigment or to the glazing. So the cross hatching there,
I
is
re-
that just done with different back of a brush, or what do you use to texture with?
um that you can get like little anything like a comb or anything to make texture marks and
Okay.
designs.
Yeah. No, it's
I garden all year long. I
yeah,
keep
okay.
really large plants in the shop here and overwinter them. So I go and raid my plants and cut them back so that I have pieces of fern and stuff like that.
Hmm. No, good use of material, yeah, and good use of your plants. So what kind of plants are your favorite to use? You must have the go-to plant if you need it.
Ferns are so nice.
Yeah,
Ferns are really nice.
yeah,
And
yeah,
ivies.
okay, yeah.
There's a lot of
No,
things that make really good plants. But I don't know, I just love the ferns the
yeah.
best.
I love the minimalism of this one. It just really got a beautiful feel. I think it's um, it almost feels like a cave drawing. There's where it's just white on this beautiful mottled background. You know, so can you tell us the process of how you would have produced this piece?
Again, I had the background done firstly.
Right,
It's got metallic mica in it and metallic bronze, and that was very dry, of course. Then I used an opaque paint to lay the foliage to. And this one, I must have taken 3 or 4 negative uh, pulls to get all of the opaque paint off in between the foliage. Because it was opaque paint, it would have been, quite opaque everywhere over top. So
right,
I pulled probably 3 times to get it that clean, and then pulled off the foliage, let that dry, and pulled it off with a clear gloss medium to
right.
in order to see the background.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah. It just has that. There's just a really nice old world feel about it. I love that. I just love the color. And then you said you're using metallics in that piece.
I
They're
use a
hard to
lot of metallics.
yeah. They're hard to reproduce sometimes in photos, but
Oh,
they're
very.
beautiful when they're yeah, they're beautiful on the wall when you yeah.
They are, but yeah, very hard to photograph.
Yeah. Well, it still gives you an idea what it'll look like, say on your wall in your home. They're not overly large pieces, and I know from what we're doing with your solo show coming up, they're priced very very reasonably, and so I do encourage people to pop in and see a show online on Artists in Canada, and that'll, as Shelley said, it'll probably start tomorrow. And this is a lovely piece. I mean, I can see what we had before. I'll just back up there with the metallic background and the simplicity of there's beautiful lines that are in there, right? Ghost-like images of the plant. Now this one's got a lot of positive color into it. It's not just negative color pulling out. It's got some stuff laid in. And those are some of your. Is that one of your ferns
Yeah,
you
yeah.
that you one of your favorite ferns? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
grass.
it's when you sit down and you look at a blank canvas, it's one thing. When you sit down and you say, "What am I going to develop in this print that I'm going to make?" You're trying to figure out, is it going to be different, or is it going to? Do you work in a series of, say, do you once you have metallic inks, do you tend to work with that for quite a while? The metallic inks, a series of them, or what do you do, or do you just
For
change it
this
up all?
for this particular project, yeah, I did try to keep, colors a little bit cohesive.
Yeah.
So yes, but
Nice.
the background is actually more flatter, opaque, buff color. There's no
Hmm.
metallic in that except for the metallic fleck areas and right in the center behind the fern. There's some metallic in there too, but the background's fairly matte.
Hmm. No,
Yeah.
it's a lovely piece. It's really hard to get these textures without doing it the way you're doing it. Like you have to do. You mean to make these plates, you have to do it this way. You know, there's no hand painting will give you something maybe similar, but it won't look the same as this. Like it's just that
No.
there's a special way. It just has a special look to it. Um, I just love them. This is a now we're dealing with this a little bit more abstract and feeling. Um, what was kind of the inspiration for? It's a little. I'll go back. It's a little. This is one that is a motif that is very plant related. You can pick things out, what kind of plants they are that you're using. And then this one here is this cobweb of stuff. I don't know. How do you produce a piece like this? Is this just, again, the same kind of just different material, like different plants? That's the same thing?
Really, yes, same process. Um, but my background is, very abstract painting. So when it came down to this flurry of fern fronds, it does look quite a
Yeah.
tangle too.
Yeah. But you know what? It's nice when you can see that because not everybody they like different things. And they say they're either looking for color or texture. And these were, the series that I see that are here, it would be lovely to see 2 or 3 or a block of 4 on a wall, which could be quite dynamic. You see, they don't have to be or they can be a one-off. You can move them around. That's the nice thing about these pieces. They have a real nice connection to nature within your place. Like when you start a different way of looking at it rather than a painting of grasses and floral and fauna. This one has um, just the technique is different. We just through here. Now this one is very illustrative. I mean, the detail you got in this one is amazing. Like I got in on this one, I kept blowing it up and blowing it up. Um, yeah. Is it
Oh
kind of
yeah,
based?
go ahead.
Is it kind of based on a bird's nest a little bit, or is it?
Yeah, I
What?
made a little bird's nest out of strings and ribbons and I had all this sorry satin. I made the nest
Oh, yeah,
and made some little egg shapes, and then I had the ivy from the indoor garden and some grasses, and just started off, and this is what I got.
yeah. No, this is very, very. The technical detail in this one is beautiful. Like it's like a very, very fine drawing painting, and that doesn't seem to say much when you say, "Oh, it's easy to do these things." I said, "No, you really need to have experience to be able to understand how to work with the materials to know how they're going to reproduce what you want from them." Um, Now there is another one in this series, correct? That is painted with. I won't tell you. It's in the show. We didn't put it in here in our show here. That's a surprise. So the eggs are painted in. They're. I guess they're robin eggs. I guess initially. I would guess they were
Yeah,
blue,
because they're so turquoise.
turquoisey
Yeah,
blue. Yeah, they're quite beautiful.
yeah.
So, but I'm going to save that for people that have to come to the show and online and take a look at that one. But
Thank you.
yeah, no, this is a gorgeous piece, and I looked at it for quite a while, figuring out um, how to produce this piece because the piece in the background is deep, and you got these foliages that are at the surface. Like it's multi-layered in value texture as well. And I do love the vine that goes all the way around that contains it in a different shape that goes in and out of the borders. I mean, it's your eye is kind of forced to connect things together, and it's things traverse off the page and on the page. So yeah, it's a technically skillful piece, and well designed. Very low. It would make a lovely cover of a book. It would make a lovely, and I don't know what the title of the book be, but it is about nature. This one, I think, we do talk about inspirations, and I think the name of your show is Nature's Pulse. So
Yes.
is that's that heartbeat that comes from nature? I'm assuming is that where that comes from? The Nature's Pulse, the title of your show. I didn't come
Yes,
up with the title. You came up with the title, and I thought it's
I
what
did.
yeah, it's an inspirational title, and I think people understanding that this show is really an experience of nature and inspiration. And we're at that spring period where we're starting to watch things turn green, and hopefully the snow will all recede and it'll be this huge poof, it'll blossom of stuff will happen. So your show is doing that already. So it'll be
Great.
quite amazing presence of stuff to show people.
Thank
Here we
you.
go.
Thank you.
This one's a
We had fourth.
Go ahead.
We had fourth winter here yesterday. Woke up, it was probably about an inch of snow everywhere.
It is a bad dance, isn't it? The spring is, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I mean, it's really yeah. But you know what? It
Life
really
in
makes me appreciate what we have on both seasons. The seasons that we have, the giving and the taking of the color, and I do love the subtlety of winter and the grays and the things that we get. The palette's amazing. The ochres that can come through from the grasses, and those are all inspirations, I think, that come into our work as artists that work as Canadian artists, so we can see those seasonal changes if we're painters. And do you ever do any plein air painting as well outdoors, or are you mostly a walking and gathering person?
Yeah, I'm a walking and gathering person. It seems
So
when I'm
do you have
outside, there's always
do you
something to
have that
do. So no,
satchel, or you have that satchel or that bag that you carry with you when you go for your walk, or to put stuff in?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's a lot of different mushrooms around here too. So yeah, you never know what you're gonna find out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about mushrooms, but I like mushrooms, but me to choose the ones to eat, I don't think so. I'm not very good at selecting the mushrooms. But anyway,
Good,
how
good
do you
idea.
use? Sorry, you're
Pardon
breaking
me.
up a little bit.
What did you say, Paul?
So how do you use, if you do you use mushrooms in your work as well for rubbings? But they'd be really hard to figure out how to. I mean, they have the
No,
mushrooms that are quite flat that could be, you could use as for a printed material. But
yeah,
do you use, or are you eating these mushrooms?
eating. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
too many spores. There's too many spores. That would be interesting though. I might be able to actually pick up the spores if I did try to print it. That's a good idea.
Oh, I'm an idea person. Well, I do have, there are mushrooms that are, they're more like lichen almost. They clump together, but they're quite flat. They'll be on trees and they'll be around the bases of things, north side of things. But I don't know how they would squish quite easily. But I don't know. Maybe you might be able to get a delicate proof as a base for them. It's just this
Mhm.
cluster of. They're not the toadstool type ones. The ones that have little puffy heads on them. They're more like leaf like mushroom. Um, I don't know. There's a million types of mushrooms out there, but and at our cottage they'll just pop up all of a sudden out of the ground overnight almost. And
Right.
you one day they're not there, the next day there's this toadstool, popped right up, and the squirrels are running around gathering what the ones that they like, but they. I don't know how I've done paintings of them, but I haven't done and the shelf ones that grow on the side of a tree. They're quite popular, the shelf funguses. But anyway, this back to
Mhm.
this one is your ferns again. The color choice. How do you separate? Is that just painted on separately, the blue section, and then your yellow section
I'll
off to the one side, and then everything's put on top of that in layers?
I'll use sprayer. I'll use a sprayer to separate
Okay.
colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm Clean
Yeah.
brayer.
A clean one. Yeah.
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 Otherwise colors will blend.
Yeah. People
Just
understanding that
great.
a brayer is a roller, a hand roller is a brayer, and the you can I don't know if you have a bear in there to look at, but we used to use a leaf at one time. I think fig leaves or grape leaves. I think initially, and they're wrapped flat in a round thing, and you can round and you rub with those on top of it. But you can use all kinds of things to rub. A big flat spoon, um, down to certain types of sticks and bottom of a jar. You can use a lot of things to use to
To get
push.
into those little fine places, using your hands and fingers is very good too.
Right, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, just pushing around the edges of
Yeah.
the foliage that's there, because sometimes it's very delicate and you have to get in and around. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
won't catch the edge of the stem, for instance, or if the head squishes too much, if you push too hard on it, right? So all those
Right.
things take experience and understanding. And so, do you work back into them as well after they're done? Like you said, I saw one where you do it
Not
a
not very
dragonfly.
often, but sometimes. Yeah, sometimes, but not very often. This one, no, not at all.
Yeah, I think it's just based on inspiration, what you see in things that could embellish, make it a little better, or make it more of a feeling that you were going. I guess I sensed that with Dragonfly on that other one that you did, and it was a nice touch because it tells me a little bit about your thought process when you do that. Like it's not like it wasn't just like this one, just foliage, which is nice in itself. In a texture and an abstract is quite defined and strong in this one, and where the other ones are a little bit more natural feeling. They have that soft. Where this one is structured. This one has a very strong structure, and the color palette is really complementary, and yeah, it works good. It's different, and I think we like to see that. I don't like to see everything all the same. I
Right.
like it's kind of like I like to see the thought process of the artist. When I see a show of 20 of these up on a wall somewhere, or in our show, we'll have 20 of them. And I like to see variety, but I like to see the continuity of thought that goes through them. And you've got that. Like this is a
And the
beautiful
high
development.
contrast ones, oh, this one, yeah. It's sort of silvery, but blue gray.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no,
The background is metallic, dark blue. That's metallic shining through. Maybe that's why the front part kind of looks like it's metallic too,
hmm
because there's metallic in the back. But yes,
right.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it comes through. Yeah, it transfers in. Pulls through into the foreground. This is a
Mm.
beautiful. It, I get these feelings as you go for a walk and branches will be in front of you while you're trying to go down a narrow pathway, and these kind of give you that feeling that you have to move these out of the way a little bit. So I'm kind of going down a walk with you when you go through these things. It's sort of, which is kind of
Great.
a nice analogy that I can say that. See all the foliages that you see on your walk. It's kind of nice.
Yes. Yeah, it's so nice out there, and there's uh there's a good season of summer and new leaves. Oh, there's a feather in this one. A couple of
I
feathers in this.
see a couple of feathers. So this is kind of built on that bird's nest motif a little bit with the vines that go around it. And it's just a different take on that a little bit. And like you said, you've got
Right.
some feathers in here.
Mm-hmm.
And they pick up really well. Like I'm surprised how well they show up as feathers. You know what I mean? The texture is soft edged, and they feel like you just laid feathers down on there, and like on the print. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
beautiful proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
They would.
The feather print very well.
So the ink on this one is it a black ink or is it a mixed of?
No, I use a dark blue gray. I find,
Okay.
and then with the buff background, it's just like black and white's great, but sometimes it can be so harsh.
It's a little harsh, yes. I do like that buff. It just it feels beautiful. Yeah, no, it's got a nice. I don't know what the word is, glow. It's not really a glow, but it's just there's a, like you said, it's just not harsh. It would be a little hard on your eyes to watch just with white and black for this one. I think, yeah,
Right.
it feels a
It
little
might.
older. Yeah, yeah,
Um, it does have the warm background. The it does sort of have a vintage look to it.
yeah. But it's nice. It has that warm feeling. Like that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
not a cold. It's not a cold piece. I find if it was just on white, it becomes all about analytical. It feels like you're trying to define everything, and it's only about that. Where the background now becomes part of that image, making it warmer, feeling, inviting, those kind of things a little bit. So it's kind of a, and it's not really old world, but I'm just saying it has a vintage feel about it that is not a, it's a nice, and it works nice with that blue. I mean, again, it's got a, there's a complementary aspect in a distant way anyway, but it feels nice.
Thank you.
There we go. So you can see how you've pushed with your fingers around those stems. I can see where you've pulled ink, like, you have to when you run around those little plants. And yeah. And I'm really
Right.
surprised how much detail you can get out of a head without squishing the head of that flower or that seed pod at the top of the branch. The detail's amazing. Yeah.
I think it's because, jelly plate just has that bit of give in it that you can actually do it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's very it's a delicate piece. Again, a nicely strongly designed piece, and I just love the different textures you can get. I mean, you got this stem. Now, I don't know what kind of plant that is that going up the left side there. It's kind of it's it, it's
Some
very
sort of,
texturally
yeah,
it's
some
very
sort of,
texturally different than say the one that goes across the page on the top behind it. So you can see these
different,
layers. Yeah,
very
yeah, I'm amazed at the
deep.
detail you can get. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know it might fall apart a little bit, but, you know,
I can
I
imagine it
think
would fall
the clean,
apart.
yeah, that happens, but
Yeah.
I just take my tweezers and pull it all out carefully before I take the positive print. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people understand it's your piece, so you can move stuff around, take it apart if you
Yeah.
have to get what you want. Again, that background is a beautiful, complicated abstract in itself. I mean, the splashes of green, it feels like an old wall or a fence that these
Mm.
subjects are up against, and it just feels like it's, yeah, worn. Oh, here's that Robin, that egg motif again.
Yeah, that
But the
one's
color,
so bright, and that
yeah,
one's one of my favorites. The background, the background is got a real pearl white finish to it.
okay,
It's so shimmery. It's one of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. It feels like what is that? Wedgwood fine china. It has that
So
feeling to it already.
cobalt.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It feels very Wedgwood. This would actually make a beautiful, like I can see this like a tablecloth. It would be an amazing tablecloth. Of some kind. It would be. Can see all kinds of beautiful thing. I can only imagine if these were 4 foot wide or 4 foot by 5 foot pieces, they would be huge but beautiful pieces.
They'd uh, they'd make good sheet clays. They'd print out very good. And
Yeah.
so many people are getting clothing items and furniture items and household items um,
Yeah.
made up from their paintings. You could
Yeah.
easily get a tablecloth.
You could do the same. Yeah. No, it's the same thing. It's I guess wear making wearables is a big thing for artists. It's a way of making a little bit more of a revenue stream from existing materials. So whether they
Right.
become scarves or accessories, pillows, I mean, all kinds of things that you could put on. working with a supplier to do it. It's quite um, a bit of research to find the right supplier for those kinds of things, if that's what you want to do. I mean, that's some artists don't, they don't want to do that, but it takes a little bit of, yeah, good photography
Yeah.
and work with a good supplier that knows what you want. And it always comes down to put it on something good, because if it doesn't last, you don't want that very much. It's good quality
Right.
is worth it, I think. But buying
Yeah.
things that are unique one-offs is the opportunities there now. You can do that. You can with a supplier, you can make um, a couple, three different type scarves. Every one different a little bit. They don't have to all be the same. Where the old production days, where they had to make so many thousand garments or so many yards of fabric had to be run out. Um, Today with digital printing, they just print out what you need. Dye sublimation printing, I guess it is, on material.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, this one feels a little Japanese to me. It just feels very. I think it's the paper and the way the plants are just laid in on there. It has a nice, and I love that mottled background again. The background makes so much difference. Like it it's as important as what you lay on top of it. They have
Yeah.
to go together. Yeah,
I probably did a couple of different coats of paint before I pulled that background off. I'm
right.
pretty sure I used that dark mica color. It's very metallic,
Yeah, no,
dark
it's
brown behind. Mm.
gorgeous. No, it's again, I'd love to see these things big, 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 big pieces. Would be lovely to see them two, three, four times as big on a wall. But
Mm.
the process you're using is really hands-on, and it has to be in a certain size for you to control it. And but things to aspire to, and not
Yes.
necessarily bigger isn't always better, but it's nice to have things that I'm just excited to see something that could be bigger and say, "Oh, I wonder is it possible? How do we make something full sheet? And like 2230s. How do you do that?" And have you ever used a roller, like a printing roller, like a large press, to put
No,
work through?
not yet. I have a big ceramic slab roller that I'm thinking of it, but haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Well, you'll need a pusher and a receiver blanket. So you need a very spongy blanket on the top to push in around all the plants. Like that becomes like your fingers pushing around. So when it goes through, uh, there's a pusher and a receiver for the water, if you're just for receiving it. But you need that cushiony felt, or maybe one of those yoga mats, like that kind of a thing where
Oh, yes.
it pushes. You need a little softer than a yoga mat, for to go around this foliage. But the uh, the felt, it's about a quarter inch thick, maybe even more, and it just pushes nicely around all your items, and just push it through slowly. Just it's kind of a one time through, but it can increase the size of your work dramatically, and you can, after it goes through, go back and check and hand rub sections of it. So
Okay.
long as it's taped down on the plate that goes through, and on your plate you could use good plywood, half-inch plywood as a base, and then put your uh, plastic on top of that, and then so you don't crush it. So the half-inch plywood holds it together, and tape everything to that. So you just need another thing to hold it in place so that it can go through your press. But that would maybe increase. What size is your press? How wide is it?
It's really big. It's about feet long and about 2.5 feet wide.
Wow, there you go. Short of that, you
Yeah,
have
I
to
used
go
to
down.
make a lot of tiles. I used to make a lot of ceramic handmade tiles. So it was
Oh, did
perfect,
you? Okay. Yeah.
even
Well,
fresh.
short of that, you have to wait till the asphalt or road in town, and you got to take your print down and put it through the roller on the asphalt on the highway. I've seen them pull through. I've seen them do woodcuts and stuff with those big rollers that on the highway, and they make a little on the rougher side, but they're kind of cool prints you can make with some of those. But you got to be really careful. I mean, there's got to clean the drum so that the little rocks don't push through. There's a lot of prep work to that. But if you need things with a lot of pressure, yeah, it'll squish everything up if you do that. But anyway, this last piece, it's a real splash of color. Yeah, I can see where you said you use a lot of color, and I said this I think is probably the most colorful one in this show. I said this one here is full of color, right to the edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about this one, your process a little bit?
This one has so many layers and so many different colors. I wouldn't really know where to start, but because everything's backwards on the plate. What you put on first is what ends up on top when you pull the print. There was a whole bunch of layers to this one, and then the last one I laid down a trellis looking kind of shape, and I guess I didn't like it, so I before the acrylic paint really cured, I got my isopropyl alcohol and I started rubbing and taking off paint until I got a patina that I liked. And that's how this one finished off.
It's beautiful. No, it's very rich and powerful. I see landscapes in it, and there's trees and the sky. I can see lots of things in your work, and I think that's exciting when people can find their own vision about what's going on and say it's not just about you. Unfortunately, it's really about the public who like to see things in it for themselves. Yeah, and they get excited about your work.
That.
Yeah.
I don't even want to title things because I want people to see what they see without interference. So seriously, I don't even like to title stuff.
Yeah,
but you have to.
Beautiful. Well, there he is.
I know the Killjoy is back. So, Shelley, what is your work? Your work is absolutely gorgeous, but what does your work go for? From what price to what price?
Oh, it's so economical. A lot of times, I'll just basically be covering cost and shipping. So anywhere from $50, for smaller paperworks. But I do have some large canvases. So they can be, $1,000. Some are some canvases can't move around. I can't fit them in my vehicle. So those are more expensive.
We like the fans to know what the price is. So this way, if they see something they like and they reach out to us or reach out to Canadian art, they can, Artists in Canada, they can know what they're getting. But since you're going to be having a show, they can see it all there.
Yeah.
Yes,
a lot of the ones that were shown today are very economical. They're between $195 and $295 with a archival mat and board. So
and shipping.
There you go.
And shipping.
All Canadian.
Yeah.
All Canadian.
Oh, it's
very nice. It's very cool. Your work is beautiful. So hopefully everybody will be jumping towards it. So, but thank you very much. It was a pleasure to see you again. And this time I'm glad we actually got to get the interview done before the internet went out. So, and for you people that would like more information on Shelley's art, the links will be below. Her work or her show runs all next week on artistincanada.com. 2 weeks, I'm sorry, for the next 2 weeks between now and the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, till the 30th or something. 16th to the. Thank you, you guys.
It was a pleasure. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll be back next Thursday with another artist from Canada. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Paul.